So I'll just give him a few moments until everybody is technically here. So yes, we can start. So this will take roughly 1 hour. So it's also just 1 hour until the U.S. market opens, and this is basically a preparation for the opening of the U.S. market. So first of all, we'll do a market scan by using TDC and TCs are in 2000. Then we'll look at the pre-markets, what is basically interesting to look at. So we'll start by looking at the stocks, foreign exchange, currencies, and then commodities over at eToro, as TC 2000 doesn't have commodities. And then we'll have a Q&A if you have any questions about any trades that you're doing and so on. Then we can look into that. But I have been working on my own scan, and yes, I basically done my first part of my own scan. So my strategy is basically based on buying things when they are significantly oversold, and then selling things when they're basically significantly overbought. So those are the things that I mainly look for. I do some other strategies, but that's the main thing that I focus on because it is the lowest risk, and you can also get the highest reward if you trade in that fashion. But the people that are new here, these are technically this is basically the setup that I'm using. So over here I have basically the Bollinger Band. Here is the main screen with the moving averages. I have quite a lot of 7 of them at this current stage, or 7 of them at the current stage. And yeah, I don't use more than that. I can use a few lower moving averages when I have my big screen, which I don't use here. Other than that, these are the ones that I focus on, and that is more than enough. Underneath here, I have the MACD, then the RSI, the CCI, and over here is the stochastic oscillator. So people that are not known to this software, this is basically a professional platform where you mainly trade stocks, indices, and foreign or currencies. So there are no commodities available on this platform. Hopefully they will add that in the future, and therefore I use basically eToro in order to trade commodities and so on. So we can look at the scan that I basically made. I will make a course basically how you can make your own scans, how you basically can program your own scans. So my scan is basically based on, in the beginning, it's not completely finished, but one of the parameters I focus on is when stock or a currency is basically significantly oversold. So there will be 2 different kinds of scans, one that scans for significantly overbought and one that scans for significantly oversold. So the one that I've done is basically focuses on when the price level exceeds the lower part of the Bollinger Band. And as you can see, you can go into any of these markets and so on. Foreign exchanges here, NASDAQ, S&P, Dow Jones, the high cap over 12,000 stocks in the United States, and of course this only has the United States, and it is basically more than enough as there are over 5,000 stocks available on the stock exchange. But we can look, for example, at the foreign exchange. So if I use my scan, straight away there come 2 currency pairs that are within this scan, and therefore I don't have to look at all of the other currencies constantly. I just have to use the scan, and then I see, okay, these 2 currencies have basically crossed this lower part of the Bollinger Band and are being significantly oversold or overstretched at the moment. So at the current stage is a euro and yen, and then we have the euro and then a Swedish franc. So we can look at the euro and the yen, and as you can see, this we can get rid of most of these barriers here. We have fallen quite significantly the last week and a half in the euro yen. At the moment, we're trading underneath the 50 moving average. You can see the MACD is very bearish. The RSI is basically flat at this point, on the edge of being oversold. CCI is very bearish, and the stochastic is also very bearish at this point. So you can see here in the Bollinger Band, we have crossed or are crossed and are pulling back a little bit from the Bollinger Band. So whether or not this pulls back significantly to the end of the day or the ways to Monday session, this should be a very good trade because what happens here is that we will turn around and head back towards the middle of the Bollinger Band. And that is roughly a trade of roughly 0.64%. So if we go all the way back towards the top here, that's a trade of roughly 1.42%. So this has fallen significantly, but it does not show signs of a turnaround. We can go and look at the 4 different charts for different kinds of turnaround. And as you can see, neither in the 50 minutes, the 30 minutes, nor the 1 hour chart or the 4 hour chart are the signs of this turning around in basically lower charts. And therefore, probably a good idea just to wait. This will probably fall even further. But when you see, for example, the 1 hour chart starting pulling back towards the 20 exponential here, and probably also the 30 minutes will also show signs of life, then it's a sign that you probably should start buying this. So the idea here is to target first the 20 exponential moving average. If that breaks, then target these previous highs. So when you make this trade, always put a stop loss. Many people have asked me why I let my stop losses break, and I will make a course basically on the risk management. And there are 3 basically ways of really to lose money in the markets. One is basically changing your stop losses constantly. So what really happens is that you put your stop loss here, and then it falls, and then you want to save your trade, and then you want to change your stop loss a little bit, and then it falls even further. And then you think, okay, I've changed a little bit, it can fall even further, and then it falls even further, and then you change it a little bit. So you initially wanted to basically have this amount of risk. You could fall all the way down to the 150 by just thinking that way, and then you probably lose 5 times as much as you were planning to lose. And that is one of the ways that most people lose money. They just change their stop loss because they think, okay, it can fall further, and then it falls even further. So I'll make a video, a course probably on Monday about risk management. There are 3 very important things that you should be paying attention to if you want to avoid basically losing too much money. So the other one here is this is the euro yen. This is probably something that you should put on your watch list because this is a very interesting trade when it starts pulling back here from the bottom. So you have the euro and the Swedish franc, and as you can see, we are way across the Bollinger Band here, and we're finding support here at the 200 moving average. So yes, other technical indicators are very bearish at this point. So this is an early indication of a trade that will be possible to enter. The last time we tested the 200 moving average was way over here. So it took quite some time. It also went underneath the 200 moving average before we had this massive rally to the upside. And that is technically what I'm looking for. So these kinds of major rallies. So when it finds major support underneath here, that is basically when it starts to rally. So this is a rally of roughly, you go all the way to the top, is basically over here, roughly 1.76%. That's quite a nice rally for 3 weeks in this currency. So at this point, it is probably not ready to rally. It will probably take a few days. We'll have to look for stability here at the bottom. And if we find stability, it is very likely that we'll see something similar to this. The plan will be to put a stop loss underneath here and then to target these previous highs, because that is where we'll find the next resistance level. So from the bottom here all the way to the top, this is a trade of roughly 1.34%. So that is something to look for. So then we can go and look at stocks. So we can go and look at tech stocks. They have been absolutely plummeting the last few days, but they're at the current stage, there are only 3 stocks in the entire NASDAQ 100 that are in this category. So these are the ones that are most likely going to rally in the next few days or even the day, if you look after pre-market conditions. So you can see here, this is FISV, and we can see here in the Bollinger Band we are crossing significantly over the Bollinger Band. So whether or not we see a rally here when the market opens, that will inform us whether or not we're ready to pull back. But I think that this is a stock that is going to fall even further. So I think that we're going to fall all the way down to the 300 moving average or the 100 moving average here before this turns around. So we have fallen all the way from the top to the bottom here. That is roughly 11.5%. So the target idea here would be to put a stop loss right underneath the 100 moving average and then to target these previous highs first. So this is most likely an outlier, and this is most likely the target that we're going to make. So this is also the top of the Bollinger Band, so this will most likely fall for the next 1 or 2 more trading days. We could see a minor pullback and then fall further. It would be really strange for this to all of a sudden turn around without testing that 100 moving average. You can also see the technical indicators here are very bearish, and there's a lot of room to the downside. But this is roughly a trade of roughly 10.8%. So a very good trade if it goes to plan. But I'm expecting this to fall even further. Then we can look at the next stock here. This looks more promising, and I would not be surprised if this was a major rally to the upside. So this Cintas Corp, CTAS is the code for this. And the reason why I say that this most likely will rally today is because we're right above the 150 moving average. So idea here would be to put a stop loss right underneath the 150, and then it would be, the target would be these previous highs here. So this is a trade of roughly, get it right there, roughly 10.3%. We can also see here that we're way outside of the Bollinger Band. So I would not be surprised if we had a major pullback at least towards the 20 moving average, and that is roughly 5.8%. If it breaks down the 150 moving average, then it will fall all the way down to the 200 moving average, and it hasn't fallen all the way down to the 200 since basically in June. So that's how far since we basically were at this level. This is a very, very low level for the stock if you just look at this. So this will be interesting to see what basically happens in the stock when it opens. And the last one here in the NASDAQ, we can see that is TMUS, and we can see it's way outside of the Bollinger Band. We're just above the 100 moving average. So whether or not we manage to reach the 100 moving average, that is the question. It is also on the edge of being oversold. I would bet that if we get to the 100 moving average, we're going to see a lot of buyers coming in and buying this to the upside. So these are actually 3 very promising trades that it are plausible to follow at this moment. So we can see that if we put the stop loss right underneath here, 120, that should be fair, and the target take profit of 135. So this is a trade of roughly roughly 11.5%. And I would be amazed if we didn't see a pullback from here. If you look at the 4-hour chart for this, you can see just how aggressively we fell. And here in the 4-hour chart, we can also see that we'll run into major resistance at the 200 moving average, and that is roughly at 121, and that should coincide with the 100 moving average roughly here. Yes, so 100 moving average at the 1 hour, the daily chart, and the 200 moving average in the 4-hour chart. Those should be, both of them, significant support, and will most likely pull back from there. So we can also look at the S&P 500. There are many more stocks that we could look at which have the same characteristic, that they are oversold or overstretched and are expected to pull back. PG is one of them. Same thing here, outside of the Bollinger Band, and we are just above the 150 moving average. Also a stock that you should look after for a pullback. You can see a VM. This probably will fall further. It will go down to the 150 of $112 a share, and then pull back from there. Then we have, this is not a good one. This is ROP. We'll just drop that for at this moment. And then we have PGR, and that is also quite far away from the 150. This most likely will fall even further. This one is looking very interesting. So this is HSI. As you can see, we are just above the 100 moving average. And the last time we were above the 100 moving average, we had a major rally all the way up towards this level. So 4.8% was the rally after we hit the 100 moving average the last time. We were also roughly here at the 100 moving average, and this was an even bigger rally. So here we also are way outside of the Bollinger Band. So I would be really surprised if we had a pullback at least towards the 40 exponential, so a rally of roughly 1.51%. Technical indicators are, well, they are still bearish. If you look at the 4-hour chart, 4 different chart, we can see that we are running into resistance support here at the 200 moving average in the 4-hour chart. And yes, we are also finding quite a lot of support here because we are testing same price levels as in the past. So we can also see it over here in the 50-minute chart. There are this area, this area, this area that previously have acted as support, and most likely will do that today as well, now as well. So we can look at the next one, that's D. So for D is here. I would not go into this. So this is overstretched because, or oversold because we are basically in a downtrend. So this is a typical stock that you should wait until it goes towards the 20 exponential, as you can see here and here and here. Wait until it pulls back towards that area here, and then you should target these previous lows in order to catch that trade. Otherwise, no, this is not a buy. Then we have McDonald's, and this is probably one of the most interesting trades that I was looking at this previously. So McDonald's has gone way across the Bollinger Band here. We can see what happened the last time we were way across the Bollinger Band. We rallied from this point all the way to that point, and that's a trade of roughly 5.5%. So that's also coincided with us finding support at the 150 moving average. At this current stage, we are way across the 50 moving average, and we should expect a rally from here. If we start trading underneath the 150, then that opens the door to 200, and we haven't been to the 200 level since way back in the beginning of August or end of July. So it'll be really interesting to see what basically happens in this stock. I would guess that we will rally from here all the way to the 50 moving average at least, and that's a rally of 2.5%. If we break the 50 moving average, that opens the door to the 100, and from here to the 100, that is 4.03%. So this is definitely a stock that should be interesting to look at. Then we have MKC, and this is very similar. We are finding major support here at the 200 moving average. Sorry, we are way across the Bollinger Band, but pull back quite aggressively. So in this case, I would guess that we will go from this point to the middle of the Bollinger Band, and that is roughly 2.4%. If it rallies above there, then we'll head towards 150, and that's a trade of 4.4%. But this is an indication that there's a lot of buying occurring right here at the 200 moving average, and that is pressuring this to the upside. So the last time we were at the 200 moving average, we have to go way back. We have to go way back to May until we find this stock testing the 200 moving average. So the last one, probably take all of these. We can see that this is Info, and Info is trading just above the 150. It will most likely fall towards the 150 or just above here. If it turns around here, then it most likely will head towards the middle of the Bollinger Band, which is a trade of around 3.3%. Technical indicators otherwise are very bearish at this point, so one or two trading poor resistant levels for this currency pair. At this point, we are finding stabilization here. It is not looking like we are going to rally above the 50 moving average, and that technically means that we are most likely going to fall back towards this support level. And at this current stage, that would mean that we'll fall roughly 1.38%. So if this starts breaking below the 20 exponential, then expect this to go all the way down towards these previous lows. And yes, that is quite a nice trade. The next one was the Brazilian dollar and the CAD. And as you can see here, we have fallen towards support. We have found support here. We're also at the bottom of the Bollinger Band, and we are basically turning around at this current stage. So it probably take a while. Technical indicators are not there yet. I can get rid of my scan here. We can see if we look at the 1 hour chart, we can see that we are turning around again. So we'll probably stay around here for some time. If you look at the 4 different charts, we can see that we have found support here at the 200 moving average. And that's the last time we were at the 200 moving average, we saw back here, we had a rally of roughly 2.78% over the span of roughly 1 month. So it has been rallying every single. We have found support at the 200 moving average and 4 hour chart, and then it has rallied after that. We can see it also over here. The last time we were at the 200 moving average, we rallied from this point all the way to the highs here, and that is 4.4%. So the 200 moving average on the 4 hour chart has been significant support, and we are basically at the same point today. So to hold this for a month, you should expect at least 3 to 4 percentages in to the upside. However, if the 50 moving average breaks, that opens the door to much lower levels. And actually, we haven't been in that scenario since basically in the beginning of November. So we'll basically see. If this holds, then we are going significantly higher. If it breaks, we're dropping all the way down to the 100 moving average, and that's another minus 1.6%. So the next one on my list is US. No, that was wrong, sorry. US Swede, here I have it. Over there, yes. So you can see that this is the US and the Swedish crown. So we got rid of this trade yesterday. We closed it. And at this point, it is becoming more interesting. So we can get rid of this and we'll leave that open. So the last time we rallied this significantly over the 50 moving average was over here. So it took us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trading days in order to break down. And when we broke down all the way down to this level. So that is a trade of 9.2%. So a massive trade. So this is from November all the way down, all the way to the beginning of January, we fell 9%, a massive fall. Now we're rallying. We have rallied from the bottom here at roughly 3%. And if we start running into resistance in this area, stay around here for roughly 3 to 5 days, expect this to continue to break down significantly. The reason why we are rallying this much is because the US dollar is appreciating, and therefore it is basically rallying. It does not mean that we are changing the course of this or anything, but we have fallen substantially all the way since basically March. This is a fall from the top here all the way to the bottom of 22%, an enormous fall. So pay attention to this. This could be very interesting. We got some good trades from this only a few weeks ago and also very recently. And if this turns around here or even goes higher to the 100 moving average, then it will be a massive trade to make. And the other one is the US Norse krona. Very similar here. It has been basically bouncing off the 20 exponential moving average now forever. And the same will most likely happen here. So up towards the 20 exponential pullback, and then we basically have like 7 pullbacks here from the 20 exponential. So we're finding resisting here again. If this breaks, then we'll head to the 20 exponential, and then we have the 50 above, and it will be really difficult for this to basically break that. Last time we were at the 40 was back here. This is in December, the 21 of December, and then we basically broke down for all the way down to this level, which is 5.7% in only half a month. So that's a substantial fall. But we are running into resistance here. This is also a currency pair that I'm looking for. If you look at the 4 different charts here, it is starting to trend upwards in the lower charts, 15, 30, and also in that 1 hour chart. But you can see here, these are tops, and they are making it difficult for this currency pair to go higher from this level. We can also see that we're running into resistance here at the 100 moving average in the 4 hour chart, and the last time we did that was over here, and then we fell significantly. We also did it here and then fell all the way down here, and we also did it over there. So the 100 moving average in the 4 hour chart is also an indicator where this basically goes. I don't really have any positive thing to basically say about this. If this rallies above the 100 moving average, goes to the 200 moving average in the 4 hour chart, then this is definitely a trade that I'm going to enter in order to short this to the downside. So let's look at eToro. So some of the commodities have had major moves. For example, gold has pulled back quite significantly today. That is mainly due to the US dollar. And we also can see that copper has moved significantly. Silver has also moved significantly. We can see that nickel and some of the other one, platinum, for example, that were way overextended, have also moved significantly. Some of them that have rallied, for example, wheat has rallied. And if you look at the indices, they have also fallen quite a bit. The Nasdaq has not fallen quite significantly. And the reason for that is because prior to the last 2-3 weeks, these two indices, the Dow Jones and the S&P 500, have been rallying significantly, while the the Nasdaq has basically been in the same place or has been rallying. So it will be lagging. If it gets down to 12,600, you'll see a lot of buyers coming in and buying this to the upside. Otherwise, I do expect most of these tech stocks, for example, Facebook, and also Netflix and Apple, will most likely rally today. Some of the stocks that will probably fall are Tesla and Neon because they are way overextended and are very likely to fall. So let's look at the other charts here. So the commodities. We can start by looking at natural, well, not natural gas, but oil. Start looking at oil, and as you can see, if you saw my video for the commodities market, I did say that we would most likely head towards the downside here in oil. So it basically means that we are going to probably see a pullback towards the $50 range, and that is basically your entry point for this market. So I don't like buying oil or natural gas on Friday, for example, and the main reason for that is because fees for gold and natural gas, not gold but oil and natural gas, are absolutely crazy on eToro. If you want to buy this, you should probably buy it on a Monday, and then it will be much cheaper. And also, many events really happen in the weekend that can basically ruin this trade. So it's very risky to basically buy it or trade it at all on Friday. But at this point, I think it will take like 1 or 2 trading days in order to get down towards the middle of the Bollinger Band. And as you can see, the last time we have done that, it has rallied. We were here at 37. We rallied all the way up to 53.85. And now we are basically breaking down because we're heading at the top of the Bollinger Band. Technical indicators here as well are also turning around. So it is just a matter of time before we head towards the middle here. We can look at the 4-hour chart for this. We can see that we are steadily going down. We are rallying up towards the top and then going lower and lower. So we will run into some kind of support here at 51 or $52. That is just above the 50 moving average. If we break below the 50 moving average, then we're heading all the way down to the 50. So yes, that is probably what we can say here. Any questions? Then we can look at natural gas. So we have been rallying here the last 12 hours. We can look at the daily chart instead. So it's just more of the same in natural gas. We are rallying up towards the 50 moving average. We're testing the 50 at the moment, but I think that we are just going to head back towards the lower part of the Bollinger Band. It is could be a trade to start shorting it here. That could be an idea. The better day will be basically shorted here when we're outside of the Bollinger Band. But this area here seems to be very resistant. And usually what happens when you find an area that is very resistant, it basically breaks to the downside. So a fall from where we are at this current stage, which is at the top of the here at the 50 moving average towards the lower part of the Bollinger Band, that is very likely at this stage. So a break below the 200 moving average, that opens the door to all the way down to the $2 range. So we can look at the 4-hour chart. As you can see, we are rallying here, but finding resistance at the middle of the Bollinger Band. Last time we rallied to the top, we had this major fall towards from roughly the 2.8 all the way down to the lower parts here at 2.6. So we can look at copper as one of the last commodities because there's quite a lot of things that are happening in copper. So copper is in the 4-hour chart. We can look at a 1-hour chart first. You can see that we have fall back all the way to the middle of the Bollinger Band. And at this point, if we break the middle of the Bollinger Band, we're heading all the way down to the bottom of the Bollinger Band. We haven't done that in a very long time. So I'll be very surprised if that would occur. Last time we did that was over here. That is basically the beginning of October when we were basically underneath the Bollinger Band. So I do not expect us to do that. I think that this will basically turn around probably later on today. If we break, then we're heading towards the 3.48, and we have the 50 moving average there. So there are double support underneath, and that is very unlikely that we are going to go significantly lower from this point. Yes. So there are a few minutes until the US market opens. At this current point, there, do you have any questions? If people have any questions for the Q&A, then it should be technically now. Yes, so just write to me on Patreon if you have any questions about your trades. So good luck and thank you very much.